Hello, my lovelies. I hope you're all having a wonderful start to your Monday or whichever day of the week you happen to be on when you decide to watch this. I know it's been a while since I've been on here. A lot, and I do mean a lot, has been moving in my personal life. So I don't want to get into it today. Maybe I'll be a conversation for down the line at some point in time, but your girl's been hella busy and exhausted. I think it's just the culmination of the energies of this year. And it's crazy to think that we're close to wrapping up 2024. I don't know about you, but for me personally, it feels like it was just like last week that we started this year. And for me personally, this year has been full of experiences and setbacks and delays and challenges. And overall, the energy of this year felt very karmic. There was a lot of dense energy that we had to purge and release. And I definitely sense that this year might have been one of the heavier ones for a lot of people. And I'm here to say that 2025 is going to be brighter, is going to be easier. And we just had to put in the work and the time this year. So a lot of initiations, a lot of releasing, a lot of purging, a lot of endings disguised as new beginnings. And yesterday we had the final full moon of the year, that final energetic purge. Some of us are still in that energy right now. So I'm here to remind you to honor yourself, honor your body, honor your needs. The world can wait. And I think that's one of the hardest decisions or mindset shifts we sometimes need to make, is reminding ourselves that everybody else can wait. The world can wait. This sense of urgency that we have developed as a culture, especially due to social media, can kind of get ingrained in our brains and how we move through life. We can feel the need to answer immediately or to check our phone constantly for notifications, and I've been there too. But it's understanding that it's a disservice to our soul and our core essence. Our soul and core essence flows naturally. It knows it has a purpose for being here. It knows it has a mission. And when we can tune into these deeper parts of ourselves, that's where we can acknowledge that we have medicine to bring forward. And the theme of medicine is what I want to bring in to today's reading, because we did have the full moon in Gemini yesterday. And Gemini represents duality. We think of the twins when we think of Gemini energy, and it's realizing that we all have Gemini somewhere in our birth chart. So leading up to today's reading, we might have felt really in our heads, experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, overthinking, rumination. And wherever you have Gemini in your birth chart is where you're going to have felt this energy the most. So if you have Gemini, let's say in your 6th house of health, routine, and occupation, you might have been ruminating, overthinking how you show up in the workplace. You might have been having a hard time seeing things clearly when it comes to your colleagues. And with Mercury having been retrograde, there might have also been conflicts, misunderstandings, missed deadlines, forgetting to send emails. So we have this added sense of communication chaos when Mercury is retrograde. Now, Mercury did go direct yesterday, but we're still going to feel that lingering energy of just getting our wires crossed and sometimes thinking it's the other person. Now, here's the thing. I've observed and been watching my behavior over the past couple weeks, and I've tended to notice that a lot of the time it has been myself. But at the same time, I am very fiery, so I have gone in full speed ahead into these arguments because I'm like, I want to see what the outcome is, which is very air energy, very Gemini energy, to just start these verbal duels to just see what happens. So feel free to share with me if you've also been in there in that experience, triggering conversations that might have just led to arguments just for the fun of it, to see where it goes, because I've been doing that a lot. And it's helped me to grow, but also foster better communication, like especially with my partner. We've had arguments about the stupidest shit. And subconsciously, we both know that there's something deeper that we're not accessing when we first start to argue. You know, like a couple days ago, we were arguing about buying a Pyrex dish. Like, it is the stupidest thing. And then we eventually settled down and realized what the underlying issue actually was. I really just wanted the Pyrex dish so I can make dinner for us. So all this to say, Gemini energy can bring up a lot of mind chatter. And we need to remember that when we're really in our heads, we need to be mindful of the fact that we're in our heads when we're moving through life, and to pull back on occasion, to be in our own energy, because this time of year, we're in Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is a fire sign, has a masculine polarity. So there's this tendency to want to be out and about, to take action, to be active. And then we get that extra masculine energy from Gemini, which is an air sign that also has a masculine polarity. So we might feel this drive to just do things, but we don't know what it is we're doing. And where I live, it is winter. There's lovely snow outside. And this is a reminder that sometimes we need to pull back our energy, and we need to nourish ourselves first, and to allow delays to happen. You know, delays are part of this human experience. Though they can be frustrating, we need to understand that there's often a bigger picture, a bigger message underlying that specific experience. For example, today's reading, I wanted to do it at 2:00. But I came home, I was exhausted, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tend to my needs first. I'm going to delay the reading intentionally so I can fill my own cup. And this is where I wanted to talk about also the theme of tribe. So at the beginning of this year, I did a small prediction for every month with an archetype. And the archetype for this season is finding our soul tribe. And the reason why I wanted to bring tribe into this reading is because when we look at meeting needs, we're often driven to meet other people's needs. And that's the thing, we're driven to meet others' needs. And sometimes it can be family, sometimes it can be friends, but it's someone external to us. And I wanted to take this time to remind you that, especially with the holiday seasons, it's crucial for you to carve out time to fill your own cup. Meet your own needs. And as you meet your own needs, you're going to find that you have more energy to spend and dedicate to loved ones, to people you enjoy being around. And this is where we get into the energy of tribe. Because a lot of us have been raised and conditioned to give a lot of energy or time to people that don't really matter in the big scheme of things. And I know that might sound harsh, but just hear me out for a moment. We think that we need to just be a slave to a system. Maybe at work, we overwork ourselves and we're underappreciated and undervalued. And it's important to take the time to notice all these patterns, these behaviors, because entering 2025, we're going to be reaping rewards, but you're only going to be reaping rewards if you've taken the time to nourish yourself, to tend to your own inner garden. And when you have extra energy, dedicating that to tribe, to people who actually see you and find you worthy and valuable. It's not going to be about forcing ourselves in environments where we're not appreciated. And especially Sagittarius being fire, it's coming through to illuminate those relationships where we feel like home with others. This is your tribe, and tribe is going to be an energy that's going to be infusing today's reading in order for you to step into your truth, your authentic self, because that's the energy, the momentum we're building to go into 2025. We've done a lot of purging this year, a lot of karmic clearing. It's been dense, it's been heavy. There's been a lot of depression, anxiety, just mental chatter. And it's understanding that this is the portal, the final window for us to purge this energy, to consciously bring it into our awareness and to release it finally for that last time, and to be like, hey, I'm not bringing this habit that disempowers me into 2025. I'm going to allow myself to have it for the next couple days or weeks, but hey, January 1st hits, it's done. Say goodbye to this habit, mourn it, right? Because as I've been reflecting on my own personality and behavioral habits, some of them aren't serving me, but I've integrated them and used them so much that I feel that they've become part of who I am. So doing that inner work to just really pull it out, whatever that habit is, first off, it takes awareness. And second of all, it takes dedication, because it's not going to happen overnight. And this is where a lot of people fall off the ship or the train, whatever you want to call it. It takes time. Dedication. There's a lot of just like this buzz stuff, thinking you can fix stuff overnight. It's not true, especially if you want it to be sustainable. The first step is awareness. Okay, I tend to overthink, or I tend to second guess my partner's intentions when they offer me help. Okay, there's some digging that needs to happen there. And then we dig, uncover the wound, and then it's in our awareness now. And this is where we can begin our healing. So today, as I said, it's medicine. That's going to be the theme. And I also want to bring in light again. Interestingly enough, I'm not usually one to do light readings, but light keeps wanting to be infused in my readings, in my channeling. So we are going to honor that today. So today's theme is going to be light with this oracle deck, and then medicine with this oracle deck here. And it's interesting because as I chose these two decks, I don't have many crystals with me at the moment, but these are the two that I have. So I have this beautiful pink amethyst, double pointed amethyst, and then I have this double pointed obsidian. And it's interesting because both of these kind of mirror each other in terms of shape. And then it got me thinking about Gemini, with there being duality, being these two colors, these two crystals that are basically radically different from one another. And one is connected to the root chakra, which is grounding and protection. And the other one, it's pink amethyst, so it can be connected to the higher heart chakra, but amethyst is traditionally associated with the crown chakra. So you're getting crystals that basically connect both points of the chakras within the human body. So I was thinking about that, and I'm like, very synchronistic, this duality that I have going on with my crystals. And before we get into the reading, a final kind of synchronicity that I was thinking about as I meditated with these crystals is thinking about the glyph for Gemini. So for those that don't know, the glyph for Gemini is like two curved lines. So you can think two curved lines, and then two horizontal lines. And as I was reflecting on this, people often associate Gemini with representing your human self and your eternal, immortal self, which is your soul. So I was thinking about that with these two crystals, your human self and then your soulful self, but then you also have the horizontal lines. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking the lower horizontal line as representing your body when at rest, and then the other horizontal line as your astral body, open to traveling. And then there's also the vertical lines. And to me, they represented the maternal and paternal bloodline. So I was thinking about all this. I was just like, wow, this is interesting. Thinking about the maternal, paternal bloodline within the sign of Gemini, and then your physical vessel, and then your astral vessel. But then there's just this free space in the middle of the glyph of Gemini. And I wanted to ask you the question, when you think about the glyph of Gemini, and you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you as you think about this, what comes to mind when you focus on that space in between the vertical lines and in between the horizontal lines? It's okay if nothing wants to come to mind right now. But it's just something I encourage you to reflect upon, because it's something I was just like, that popped into my awareness yesterday as I was reflecting on this, and I wanted to share it with you because to me, it just kind of represents the space where anything is possible. But you also have these boundaries, and these boundaries are in order for your own soulful experiences to be guided by specific energies. So your soul is guided by your maternal and paternal bloodline that's going to be unique and original to just your soul based on your experiences. And then you have your physical vessel, and then you have your astral vessel. And again, this is going to be unique to just you. And then Gemini kind of allows this space of pure potentiality in between these lines, and that is space just for you. And as I talk about energy that's meant just for you, the word that keeps wanting to come up is authenticity. And again, we're often conditioned to hide and mask ourselves and to not truly show who we are. Some of us have weird quirks. You know, I was out with my partner the other day, and I think we were in a conversation, but then something caught my eye, and then I just zoned out. Might have been a squirrel or something. And then my partner after that, he's like, you just left that conversation. And didn't even realize. I'm like, no, I honestly didn't even realize. You know, and I felt bad afterwards, but then I realized, I'm like, this is just part of who I am. You know, sometimes I do zone out. You know, if something was a cute dog or a squirrel, it is going to catch my attention, you know, and instead of feeling guilty for that, I'm choosing to honor these quirks. And if I can't be in a space where these quirks can be accepted, it's not the space that's meant for me. And this circles back into the energy of tribe I was talking about. Your tribe are people that understand you and know you at a soul level. These are people that often life happens and you can go weeks and months without speaking to each other, yet the moment you connect, you connect. And that's the energy we're going to be moving into 2025. We're not going to be wearing a mask anymore. We're not going to be people pleasing or performing for others. We're going to be showing who we truly are. So with that being said, I'm going to be drawing 2 cards, and we're going to go based on Gemini placements. But as always, you're not limited by your birth chart. So feel free to take what resonates. If a certain placement resonates, then it's meant for you. If it doesn't resonate, it's not meant for you, but probably somebody else. So we're going to follow Gemini placements throughout the astrological wheel. So if you have Gemini in the first house, also known as Gemini rising, this is going to be your reading. So let's see. I'm going to read these cards in tandem because that's what Spirit has requested for today. So let's see. Okay, and interesting, the theme that wants to come true. It's interesting because the other reading I did was about like the truth of who you are, and that is still underlying this reading. So this is like, what was the sentence that came through? Like the truth about like your dual nature is what wants to come through, which is really interesting. So we're just going to roll with it. So Gemini in the first house, or for whoever this resonates, we have the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. And then we have Lion's Mane, leadership, 18. And I was going to draw like just a little paper with like the houses to see where this energy you can emanate it the most. So let's see. I think I'm just going to do that now so I can get a full picture reading. Okay, 10th house. Okay, so Gemini in the first house. Your energy as a soul is that of the ever unfolding rose. You have a very curious nature, and you're here to allow that nature to just be seen. To engage in spaces where you can ask questions, explore, try different things. You might have tried different things as hobbies. You might have experienced different jobs as well. And it's understanding that your curious nature is meant to lead you literally into leadership positions in this lifetime. I don't know why my throat is getting dry all of a sudden. Speaking could be part of your path, but you could be maybe holding back or being a little shy about speaking. Libra could be significant. There's also Uranus on here and Mercury. So to me, what I'm getting from both of these cards is that you are very unique, very out there, very different, very unconventional. And that is part of your soul's energy and medicine. This is what you're meant to bring to the collective. But most importantly, to your tribe is this curious nature, is your ability to ask these questions that really get people thinking, reflecting. And you actually lead people through asking questions, which is really interesting. And I kind of see your soul as like this lion with these mushrooms here. So there's a strong connection to lion energy, maybe Leo, and mushrooms coming through. And then you also have roses. So there's a lot of just symbolism coming through. You could have artistic talents, and if that's you, that resonates, you are meant to express those artistic talents in this life. And it doesn't matter if people tend to say, well, that's ugly, that's weird, that's different. It is your unique artistic talent, and you are here to express it. Because ultimately, and I'm kind of seeing like this cocooned energy, you create for yourself first and foremost. So if whatever you're creating passes the vibe check, it doesn't fucking matter what other people have to say about it. As long as you are happy with what it is you have created, that's all that matters, because whatever you create is divine, is source flowing through you organically. And I'm hearing that for a lot of you, you've had this artistic talent and this flair ever since you were a child, but it might not have been supported or nurtured in childhood, so you kind of closed it down. I'm hearing that some of you are also very musically inclined, but again, this talent might not have been nurtured by your parents. So you're in the stage of blossoming, unfurling in your gifts like this rose. And it's interesting because at a soul level, we have this strong, powerful lion energy. And then in terms of your light, it's very soft. It's very feminine. It's very inviting and ethereal, almost as though it's not even from this world. So you have this beautiful, balanced energy coming through. And part of your path in this life is to allow yourself to elegantly flow through both of these energies. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense, because we always say that we are a paradox. We can experience the polar opposite things in the exact same time. And Gemini in the first house, you are meant to be the embodiment of that energy. And with the 10th house coming out here, both of these energies, the lion and the rose, are meant to be infused together and lead you to fulfilling your soul mission. So allow your curious nature to guide you and to lead you forward, because that's how you'll know that something is meant for you. And your tribe are going to also display this unique curiosity. They might also be very artistic. So as soon as you see curiosity and artistic flair, that's how you'll know that you have found your tribe. So that's all I'm getting for Gemini in the first house, which is a very beautiful reading. The lion, the rose, I love both of these energies for you. Feel free to let me know how that resonates or doesn't resonate. I would love to hear from you. We are now going to move into Gemini in the second house. So if you have this placement or this resonates, this is going to be your reading. I'm going to take one card, please, not multiple. All right, let's see here. I'm also going to pick a house. House first. Yes. Let's see. In case you guys wanted a closer look, I just have all the houses written on pieces of paper. I'm just going to pick one to kind of see where this dual energy is meant to play out in your life, besides your actual Gemini placement, of course. Okay, so we have Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So right away, I'm feeling Earth Angel energy coming through. Ooh. And then we have Ginseng, Magician. Holy shit. So Gemini in the second house, you guys are freaking... The energy is just so potent. You have Magician. You have Earth Angel coming through. I can't even find the word to describe this energy right now. And the house coming through for you is the 12th house. So you guys are just like master healers, master manifestors, master magicians, keepers of the earth. There's a lot of just ancestral wisdom and magic that flows through your veins. And it's just so freaking potent that it's very hard for me to describe right now. It's very strong. I feel it in my solar plexus and my sacral chakra. Oh, I need to take a breath. Holy shit. This is a lot of energy, a lot of power that you guys have. And it's interesting with this ginseng card, with the wheel here, you guys, oh my God, like your manifesting abilities and powers are so strong that you have the ability to spin the wheel of fortune. Now, the wheel of fortune usually spins on its own, but you are so powerful that you can spin it, which is really intense. So, not that you're necessarily a favored one of the wheel of fortune, because that's not what it wants to come through, but it's just like you're just powerful enough that like if things aren't going your way, you can change the outcome like that, whether you're aware of it or not. And a lot of it for you guys, most of you that have this placement, it has to do with your emotional body. That's how you shift things. So if you're like, Leah, that doesn't resonate, it has to do with tapping into your emotions and your energetic aura and how you just display your energy. Not so much with how you dress yourself, even though that could be important for some of you, given that we are in an earth house, but it has to do with your energy, your aura. You can just magnetize the outcome you desire by thought alone, is what I'm hearing, which is really intense. If that's you, I would love to hear what your life has been like, because this sounds very magical and enchanting for sure. You also have a lot of ancestors standing behind you, whether you're aware of this or not. And a lot of your abilities, your gifts, and your talents have been passed down through a specific bloodline. Now, I'm picking up maternal. It could be paternal for some of you, but a lot of you, it is maternal. Your grandmothers, great-grandmothers, maternal bloodline, gifts, healing gifts, psychic gifts, and just abilities that not a lot of people have. It might be like unique clairs or something that are rare. And you might just be able to pick up and sense stuff that others can't. So with the Ginseng Magician, this is you at a soul level. Your soul is a magician. You have the capacity to practice magic. Witchcraft for some of you, but it's predominantly magic that's coming through. And like I said, just change your fate. Change your destiny and spin the wheel of fortune however you would like. And then as a human, you're wearing the skin, I know that sounds weird, of an earth angel. So you're very approachable. People feel very safe within your energy field. And for a lot of you, you are aware of this, but for some of you, you're not yet aware of how just good people feel being around you. If you work in a workspace where you have colleagues, you might have colleagues that randomly just drop by and start chatting, and it's because of your energy. It is just so inviting and welcoming for people. And it's really interesting that you have the 12th house come out, because the 12th house has to do with spirituality and the subconscious. So you have this very potent magic energy, and then this very grounded earth energy. And then the 12th house, which is this house that contains things that are usually hidden from consciousness. So the 8th house is things that are hidden. The 12th house is also things that are hidden, but within the subconscious, the psyche, the unconscious of the collective. And you have the ability to tap into it, or naturally tap into it if you are not aware of that already. And then you also have Uranus and Jupiter. So anything you kind of focus on, you naturally expand. And I look at this magician, and to me, he is abundant AF with his ginseng here and all these herbs around him. So if things have been wonky financially for you, Gemini, in the second house, tap into your magic, because you have the ability to be so wealthy and abundantly set up for life with this card. Like, money is not something you are meant to worry about at all in this life. And if it is, it's because you have yet to tap into your soul's magic. And for some of you, if you are looking to explore, I don't like to say careers because that's just not what it is. Explore a calling that is unconventional. The healing arts you will do tremendously well in. I'm kind of seeing you writing books or guides or articles or something like that, but it's going to do very, very well, and you're going to help millions of people. And I say millions because you have the unique ability to tap into the collective psyche and subconscious, and you're going to be able to pull out rich wisdom, but most importantly, magic and medicine that's actually going to help so many people. And it is going to be unconventional. You know, we have Uranus here, and that planet is all about being weird, being different, being out there. So if you can unlock your inner Uranus energy, so even maybe looking at wherever Uranus sits in your birth chart, that's going to be very helpful for you. And Jupiter as well, because Jupiter is just expanding this creative potential you have with Uranus being on this card. And animals could be significant for you too. So if you're not sure what you want to be doing with your life, maybe animal communication could be something that interests you. So the ability to communicate with animals and see what's up and see what they're going through, so you can communicate with their parents to let them know what's going on, what they're feeling and experiencing. I was going to say owners, but no. Pets are family, they're children. So you have the ability to develop pet communication. And you also have very powerful animal guides, whether you're aware of them or not. We have the cougar here, we have the eagle, we also have the wolf and the elephant. So those animals could be significant for you if they're not already your power guide. Trying to see if there's anything else. The final message for Gemini in the second house, it has to do with your root chakra, I was going to say sacral, but sacral wants to come out, so sacral, solar plexus, and your heart, and even your throat. Because if you look at this card, we have red, green, orange, yellow, and blue. So those chakras are really standing out to me right now. And I just really love this card. And in terms of final message, we do have a 4 here, and 4 is all about stability. So we are in the second house right now, and second house is possessions, it's values, it's money. So you are meant to be very stable eventually in that area of your life, if you're not already. All right, so that was the message for Gemini in the second house. Feel free to let me know how that has landed for you. We are now going to move into Gemini in the third house. So let's see. Gemini in the third house. The first word I'm seeing is drink. So some of you might be dehydrated and need to drink more water. So let's see. Gemini in the 3rd house. We have answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? And I'm already getting from this card, just based on the fact that this person is in an isolated area, you might need to isolate yourself a bit more from others in order to uncover what your calling is. If you were to shut the world out and really tune into your soul, what would you be doing? And start there. And there is luminosity coming towards you in the next coming weeks and months. And it's interesting because is this a full moon that's rising? Is this the sun? We don't know. It could be either or. It could be both. It could be a completely different star. You could be on a different planet. But it's understanding as you focus on this woman and she's looking off into the distance at this sunset, moonrise. What do you think she's thinking about? What does her composure signal? I'm just going to allow you to focus on this card for a little bit. What do you see when you look at this card? Tune in. There's nothing wrong with what it is you might be observing. Simply let it be. Because your calling is not complicated. Then we have echinacea, destiny. Confirming the fact that your calling is not complicated. And maybe you want to start writing that. My calling is not complicated. Because it's actually very simple. And especially with the destiny card coming out, this signals to me that your calling is going to unfold naturally, organically, without you having to force anything. And as I said, force anything, I also got the words lift a finger. So it is just, it's already set in stone. It's just going to happen organically for you because it's already been written and you just need to allow it to release overthinking, to not ruminate so much on what you're doing or not doing, and just let it go. Because I am picking up a lot of mental chatter and you need to just create space for the universe to just allow to direct your movement. And it's interesting because the imagery I'm getting is of someone going down white water rapids and you're just trying so hard to just avoid all the rocks that you're hitting other rocks that you're not seeing. And this unfolding of your calling and your destiny is going to require ultimate trust in the divine on your part, to the point where as much as you are this whitewater rafter, you release your, what is that you call the pagaie, whatever it is you use to like steer, you just throw it out into the water because you know you don't need it. You trust that the universe is going to guide you around all these rocks and that there's a higher power, a higher energy kind of swelling underneath your canoe, your kayak, and just lifting you over these rocks and just seamlessly moving you quicker along your path than you ever could by yourself. Because this is the divine we're talking about. And we have Jupiter and Pluto here as your planetary guides on this card. And it's interesting because we have the moon and the sun here. So that dual nature coming through of feminine, masculine. We have Jupiter that expands and we have Pluto that's kind of more secretive and mysterious and wants to keep to themselves. So part of your path is going to be finding that balance between being solitary so that you can cultivate inner peace and hear your soul's voice, and spending time with tribe because you are one of these beautiful flowers here, and then these are your friends, people that love you, that value you, just by you being you. And it's realizing that together, as a tribe, as a collective, you're able to just nourish each other by giving back into this beautiful root system that you're developing together. And that through this togetherness, there's an abundance of blessings that's going to come through. So again, Gemini in the third house, it's all about finding this innate balance between you time and us time. And it's interesting because you have the seventh house coming through. So the seventh house is all about partnership, relationships. So again, needing to find that balance between relationship with the self, which is the first house, which mirrors the seventh, and then relationships with others, and that both are healthy and need to flow harmoniously together for you to be nourished. So as a soul, your soul signed up for a very strong and powerful destiny, to the point where it's like, Jesus, take the wheel. This destiny is going to come to pass because this was one of the requirements your soul demanded before. And I say demanded. Before it chose to incarnate, you told spirit, source, your guides, I'm not coming down here unless this destiny is set in stone and perfected in this lifetime. And they agreed. So if you've been worrying about your path, release that energy because you are safe and you are well guided. And then in terms of your human self, you are more of a solitary being, solitary creature. You like your alone time. And that's perfect too. But just make sure you're not spending too much time alone and forgetting that there are a lot of people that want to spend time with you. I want to see if there's any final messages. Oh, actually, echinacea, it says 30 on here. So your 30s is when this is all going to start unfolding. So for now, practice patience, but things are going to start naturally, organically unfolding for you a lot more once you hit your 30s. If you're past your 30s, any time period where you re-encounter the number 3 in your age is going to be significant. So if you're in your 30s, 33, 36, 39, if you're in your 40s, 43, 46, 49, so let's say, what is it, the multiplications of 3? Yeah, the multiplications of 3 are going to be significant for you to catch glimpses of what this destiny actually is about. All right, so that's all I'm getting for Gemini in the third house. Feel free to let me know how that resonates or doesn't resonate, because I would love to hear from you. We are now going to move into Gemini in the fourth house. So if you have this placement or this energy resonates, this is going to be your message. So let's see. And it's interesting because for this placement, I gravitated towards the medicine deck first. So soul is going to be taking center stage, whether you're aware of this or not. Your soul wants to be the primary leader. I mean, our soul should be in the leadership position, but due to conditioning and trauma, it's often our human self that's in the leadership position. But for those of you that have Gemini in the fourth house, like, it's going to be evident that your soul is leading just because of the energy you emit. I hope that makes sense. So let's see. Ooh, we have skull cap, stillness. I love this card. It's beautiful. And then we have, warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? So sword energy coming through. For those of you that are familiar with the tarot, the swords represent mental air energy, which is really synchronistic because Gemini is an air sign. So first off, your soul is very peaceful. Even though this is skullcap, I thought of lavender. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe skullcap is also a herb that is very soothing and calming and helps to clear your energy. And it's interesting because you have like a split face here. And then you also have a Scorpion. And then you have a bunch of different symbols around like this archway. This is actually a very stunning card. I hope you guys can see it okay. And then your guiding planets on here are Pluto and Saturn. So again, bringing that depth. And I wonder why the Scorpion's on here, because we have a lot of cards with Pluto, but we don't necessarily see the Scorpion. So there's that added element of depth to your soul. We have Pluto and we have the Scorpion showing up on this card. And we have Saturn. So you might have grown up in a very strict household, had a very strict, I'm sensing father, but it could have been a very strict mother and or both. And that would suck to have very strict parents, because it kind of limited your energy while you were growing up. And I'm kind of feeling that with this archway. As much as your parents might have subconsciously thought they were keeping you safe by being so strict and authoritative towards you, they were kind of enforcing this gated energy around your soul. But for a lot of you, you kind of blossomed anyways, even though your family dynamics might not have been the most supportive during your childhood. You still managed to develop your sense of self. And now as an adult, you display this warrior-like energy. And if you don't display this energy, this is an energy you are meant to embody. I'm hearing activism. You could really care about social causes, maybe environmental causes, and you're meant to bring, I was going to say make a difference, but I said bring a difference, which is really interesting. Bring a difference to the world, and it's by you embodying the energy of skull cap. So if this resonates, I would go look up the healing properties of skull cap, because these are the abilities, the properties that your soul naturally has infused within itself, is the energy of skull cap. And you have that extra element of depth with Pluto and the Scorpion being present on this card. And there's something about time here, because as I said, Saturn is here, but then again, we see Saturn on other cards, but we don't always see these little timer things. So I find it quite significant that they're here on this card. So there's something to do with time. And it's interesting because as I was talking about your childhood, and I find it interesting that that's what wants to come through for this specific reading, we have this split face here. And I'm hearing that this represents your mom and your dad, that they only ever displayed one facet, one side of themselves during your childhood, and that they actually have a whole other facet. And it's interesting because as souls, we don't have faces per se. So what I'm really seeing here is the representation of both your parents and it's their human selves. So your childhood was surrounded and kind of enclosed by your parents' human selves, which had their own flaws and setbacks. But again, as we see this split face here, we see that the skull cap grew through it anyways. So for those of you that have Gemini in the 4th house, I'm already picking up that you're very resilient, you're very strong, and you've had the ability to kind of just tune out the negativity that might have been happening in your household. And now, as you grow and mature, you're going to be leaning into this energy, the energy of the warrior, and just being able to cut through the bullshit. Some of you might have cut your parents off and cut communication for a bit, or are in a stage where you're not speaking with your parents. And that's okay. Just because you were able to grow in an environment that wasn't very healthy doesn't mean you need to stay there. Just because you developed resiliency and being able to endure adversity, especially with the Scorpion here. Let's see, I didn't even pick your house card. House Papier, let's see. Ooh, we have 1st house. So house of self. So yeah, your sense of self was constricted by your parents' energy, but you somehow managed to blossom anyways. And it's a testament to your human self, the human skin you chose to be in this life, because this is the skin of a warrior. Your soul chose this skin for a reason. And that's all I'm getting for Gemini in the 4th house. You're very resilient as a soul, and you kind of chose to incarnate in this family that has all this baggage, especially with Pluto and Saturn being here. It's a lot of heavy shit. And it was to spark this energy, the ability to cut through the bullshit. And in terms of tribe and the people that are meant for you, they're going to embody very similar traits to you. They might have gone through a lot of bullshit similar to you, but they develop this resiliency edged by softness anyway. So as much as you can have a sword and wield it, you also know how to be soft, calm, and still. So that's all I'm getting for Gemini in the 4th house. Feel free to leave me a comment letting me know how this is landing for you, because I know it was intense. Well, flashback to the past. So I would love to know more and how it landed for you. Because it was a very unique reading compared to the other placements. All right, so we're moving into Gemini in the 5th house. Oh, that is way too many cards. I think we're just going to take that one. The other ones can go back. Okay, so there's a lot of solar energy around you, Gemini, in the 5th house, because this is the power card that wanted to come through. And it is transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. And is that the moon or the sun behind her head? Could be either or neither. Could be another planet once again. Let's see. Ooh, we have Palo Santo Guardian. So once again, very, 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 very powerful energy coming through with Gemini in the 5th house. Like, holy fuck. You have been on Earth a lot. And whether you're aware of it or not, you are meant to remember and step into full self-mastery as a soul on this life. And that there's going to be no separation between your soul and your human self. Like, they're just going to be completely merged and embodied. So it's interesting because you chose to experience duality in your 5th house, but you're also going to experience complete integration of your soul within your human vessel and vice versa, which is very fucking powerful. And then you have the 6th house coming through. So this is a house of health, routine, and occupation. So for a lot of you, if you're feeling calling to be a healer, to be a guide, to be a teacher, to be a shaman, to be a herbalist, any of these things where you're innately helping people tap into their soul and to begin embodying it is going to be what your soul craves and desires. You're going to want to be in a position of leadership, of authority, where you are seen, because you embody authorship in both your soul and your human self. So it's pure authority. And it's interesting, as I put these cards down, I switched them over. So again, there's going to be no difference between your soul and your human self in this life if you're not there already. Because you have Palo Santo Guardian. You're meant to guard and protect something sacred. And I feel that energy with this priestess here, this deity, this goddess. So again, we're getting that divine energy coming through on both of these cards, which is really something else. And then we have 55. 5 plus 5 makes it 10. So you are reaching mastery. You are reaching enlightenment in this life and just full integration of your soul and human self. Wow. This is absolutely beautiful. 5 plus 5 makes it 10. So you are reaching mastery. You are reaching enlightenment in this life and just full integration of your soul and human self. Wow. This is absolutely beautiful. 5 plus 5 makes it 10. So you are reaching mastery. You are reaching enlightenment in this life and just full integration of your soul and human self. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm picking up magician and alchemist energy too. You have the ability to rewrite your DNA. So if there's something about you you don't like, you can rewrite it. And I'm hearing rewrite it like physically. If you write, I don't like this about me right now, or I struggle with this, and you want it out of your life, you simply writing it is you casting spells. And it's going to clear out like that, just because of the amount of support you have. Now, it's interesting, when we look at your medicine card, we have Pluto and we have the South Node. So the South Node, oh my God, this is intense, you guys. Oh my God. So the South Node represents your past life. So here is you redirecting yourself already to a past life where you were embodying this guardianship authority energy. So your soul is redirecting you to a strong past life. So you've been here before. You've been in this position of leadership, of authority, and you are meant to step into it once more in this life. And then you'll also have Pluto. So that energy of rebirth, death, transformation. A lot of healing is happening. But for the most part, what I'm sensing is that you are already healed. You are here to help others heal. That is the biggest core reason why you chose to come back. Because as a soul, you're already a master. You're not here to learn anything new. You're just here to remember your mastery and then help others and be of service. Which is interesting because the 6th house is the house of service. Wow, this is really beautiful. I love this energy. Oh my God. And I didn't notice, but there's a cute little fox on this card too, and they have a star on their third eye. So foxes in third eye energy could be significant. And actually, your third eye is completely open. So when you chose to incarnate on Earth yet again, you chose to incarnate with the memory already activated of your third eye being open fully. So again, mastery has not been something difficult for you. And if it has been, there's other stuff playing out that's not being revealed to me personally right now. But mastery is just who and what you are, both as a human and as a soul, which is holy shit. Like, maybe you want to teach me some things, because this is very powerful energy. Okay, so that's all I'm getting for Gemini in the 5th house. A lot of energy, very powerful. A lot of very powerful placements today. Oh my gosh. So we'll see. And in terms of tribe message, before I forget, for those of you that have Gemini in the 5th house, I'm not really picking up anything specific. Like, your tribe might change based on who needs your energy to help facilitate their healing. So in terms of tribe, it's going to change as you mature, as you grow. You might be in a specific friend group for a while, and then you'll change into a different friend group, and then that's just how your life is going to unfold. All right, so we're going to go into Gemini in the 6th house, and then I think I'm going to take a break so I can adjust and change my lighting, because it is getting dark. Okay, so Gemini in the 6th house, let's see. We have Mintaken, longing for home, belonging, the original light worker. Interesting. Very interesting. And then we have Lavender, Weaver with number 20. So it's interesting because those of you that have Gemini in the 6th house, there is a strong redirect to your 2nd house. You have the 2nd house coming out here. And then we also have the 2 here. So your house of values, possessions, and money is significant for you in this life. So mastering your finances, knowing your values, having a healthy relationship with possessions is going to be crucial for your development, growth, and evolution in this life. And it's interesting because I'm being drawn to the Lavender card first, and we have Weaver here. We have rocks. We have a spider web. There's like a lady playing the violin in the background. And we have a woman carrying a baby and playing an instrument. And then we actually have another like being here too. So we definitely have ancestral energy coming through, and it's feminine ancestral energy coming through. There's creative talent here. There's musical talent here. And this is from your maternal bloodline. And that's coming through very powerfully and very strongly. You could have the desire to have a family because there's a baby here. But the baby could also represent something else. So I would want you, for those of you that have this placement, or for who this resonates, to reflect on what a baby represents. What could it be a symbol of? And to just tune into that for a moment. Because not all of us want to be biological parents in this life. And it's interesting because the previous house was, no, not the previous house. 2 previous houses was skull cap, but it looked very similar to the lavender. So maybe there's a connection between your 6th house in Gemini and your 4th house as well. So your house of family, and I'm picking up ancestral energy. So different redirects to different parts of your chart. And then we have Mintakan, longing for home, belonging, the original light worker. So a lot of you that have this placement, this is confirmation that your soul doesn't originally come from the earth. It comes from another galaxy. And you chose to incarnate here as a human to bring in Mintakan energy, whether you're aware of this or not. Now, I don't want to get into it because it's kind of debated what happened to Mintaka, so I'm not going to cover that here. But Mintakan starseeds are very sensitive. And they often have this longing for home. So Mintaka was this star that was destroyed and rendered unlivable. So Mintakans fled to other galaxies and other star systems to protect themselves and continue on their lineages. But since their home planet was destroyed, all Mintakan starseeds have this deep longing for home, and they tend to not really feel comfortable here on Earth either. They're also deeply sensitive. We have the words here, original light worker. But a lot of Mintakans are also empaths. They can feel other people's emotions and energies, and they have an ease at transmuting them. So a lot of gifts have been carried into this life for those of you that have Gemini in the 6th house. And these gifts, these abilities, the capacity to help heal others comes from this Mintakan lineage that you are connected to, whether you are aware of it or not, because you bring in this gentle, sensitive energy that is very much needed on Earth. And it's unfortunate, but what I'm sensing right now is just due to your sensitivity and your empathic nature, you might have gotten people that took advantage of you, that abused you because you are so pure at a soul level, but also as a human, because we have your human card being Mintakan, and then we have lavender, and lavender is just the soothing, calming energy. So again, we have this calming energy flow through between both your human aspect and your soul aspect. So very wise, gentle, and sensitive souls is what I'm picking up on. And with the word weaver coming through here, I find it very unique. And we think about weaving, and then there's a spider web here. So spiders weave webs. And webs are very unique if you think about the material that the spider itself creates in order to generate a web. And it's understanding that as a soul, you have these unique abilities to generate and create things from nothing, a lot of you. And it just comes from inside of you. And this ability to create is sometimes not made manifest in the physical realm because the sensitivity has yet to be mastered. Mintakans can have a hard time mastering their emotions, mastering their sensitivity. There could be unhealthy relationships with food, for example, or other coping mechanisms in order to shield your sensitivity from the harshness of this world. But it's realizing that as soon as you take the time to connect to your soul and bring in this gentle, soothing aroma from your soul into your current 3D life, your sensitivity is going to become a gift and not a burden anymore. These addictions that you might have developed in order to shield and protect your sensitivity are naturally going to flow away. But you need to first and foremost remember who you are as a soul. Your soul is perfect. Your soul is safe. Even though the energies here can be violent and very abrupt, they cannot impact your soul at all. And it's this remembrance of your soul beyond your human self that's going to help activate and awaken the sensitivity in a way that empowers you and no longer hinders you. And as you awaken to these abilities, these gifts, and you're able to connect to your soul, you're going to be able to generate money and financial stability and security for yourself, because your sensitivity is your greatest tool to your own innate mastery and authority. It is the sensitivity. It's being a master of sensitivity. But you need to allow yourself to adjust to this climate, and that happens through you connecting with your soul. So that's all I'm picking up for Gemini in the 6th house. I think I'm going to leave things here for now and come back and do part 2 after I have added more light, since the sun is starting to set and we're losing light. So I will send you all so much love for now, and I hope you can join me again for part 2. That will be happening soon.